We were blackmailed. You need to send me £2,000, otherwise your dogs are gone and done for. They were hitting me in the jugular because I was feeling bad enough. And I got that call and I just remember literally my legs falling from beneath me. A few days later, my dogs were stolen and I was plonked in the middle of my worst nightmare. And I was like, it's him.
And everyone who I speak to at work is counting down to retirement. Like, we say it a lot, we've got another 40, 50 years.
I was absolutely at my, is this it moment? Is that just it?
Panic stations, because like, who am I? Who is my identity?
What you think is your dream, in reality, doesn't always work out that way.
It was this Zara outfit and I was balancing on a potty. My heart was beating and I was like, how the hell am I going to explain this to my husband? Like, what the hell? Like, I did not sign up for this.
Party, dance. I'm like, what? I don't know what's going on, but I'm doing it. And then you're going to walk on fire. Tony Robbins is the guy we're talking about here. So, long story short, I literally quit my job after studying 3 years for something I wanted so bad on a feeling.
Always cheated on me, always took them back. I was the one saying sorry on a message just so that they didn't feel bad. That's connection to others, but also more importantly, connection to ourselves. And then there's growth. Takes just 90 seconds for us to actually process, but if we resist processing it, that will stay in our body for years.
On here is that choice within it in terms of not allowing our circumstances to define us, seeing them turn their silly little dreams into realities at the best. It's like, it's just a constant evolution, and isn't that a beautiful way to look at life?
Hello and welcome to Becoming Lucy with me, Hannah.
And me, Lucy. So how many women are walking around right now calling the life they really want a silly little dream because saying it out loud feels too scary?
And I think that's what's going to be powerful about today's conversation, is that underneath the business success and social media, this is really a story about identity.
And confidence, self-belief, friendship, and trust, and becoming the version of yourself that you nearly talked yourself out of being.
Yep. One was a stay-at-home mum, quietly feeling like there had to be more inside her, but struggling with confidence and where to even begin.
The other had already built over 5 million in turnover, yet still found herself questioning, is this it?
The two of them met through a women's networking group and became accountability partners, and slowly started building what would later become a movement, helping women completely change the way they see themselves.
But during that time, everything changed. Charlotte suddenly found herself living through every dog owner's worst nightmare when her dogs were stolen.
And what followed was fear, blackmail, going viral, and being completely forced to confront who she really was underneath it all.
But what's powerful about this story is that instead of becoming hardened by life, they chose to become more authentic through it. And what we really want to explore today is not just what they built, but who they have to become to build it.
Yes, today we are joined by the co-founders of the Authentic Girls Club, Kat and Charlotte. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Wow. I just blown us away with that little intro. Thank you.
Incredible.
Glad you like it.
Well, amazing.
It's completely you guys, and we're really happy to share that with everyone who's listening. And we're so excited to have you on the podcast. So thank you so much for joining us this evening and sharing your story.
Amazing.
Thanks
We
for
can't
having
wait
us.
and so glad to be here.
And what we normally kind of intro, I mean, we do know you guys. We've met on different occasions. Me and Hannah were very lucky to attend the Wake Up Live only a month or so ago, wasn't it? And be part of the Authentic Girls
Yes.
Club that day. And for our regular listeners, we have brought this up in a couple of episodes with the arrow snapping and the whole bar breaking, the social media men's
The
explaining
comments.
hate.
Landing in the
that was
manosphere.
Going on,
manosphere. No, definitely. So we kind of started as strangers, but now obviously we are really excited to follow your social media journey, and we are true believers of the Authentic Girls Club, and we're very grateful that we were able to experience what you guys offer to so many amazing women around the country.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, what a day that was. It really, really was. And we loved you guys being there. And yeah, it was the first one that we've done of its kind. And yeah, the first of many more to come, I feel.
Definitely. So on that, talking of the Authentic Girls Club, we want to take you back right before that, before the movement, before any of this existed. Obviously, this is our first foray we've had, so whoever goes first. But who were you both before at that point in your lives, basically?
Yeah, well, we both kind of describe it as it was our "is this it" moment, wasn't it, Kat? For me personally, I was a stay-at-home mum at the time, and I loved that I got to do that and be there for my girls. I had two girls at the time. I've since had a little boy as well. And, you know, I loved our days. I was so grateful because, like I say, that was the dream, to be at home with them and to kind of follow in my mum's footsteps in that way. But a few years in, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I need something else in my life. Like, I just got to this point where I was like, there is so much more inside of me. But I felt so damn guilty for that feeling. And I kept pushing it down and away and just being like, I've chosen this path. Like, it is too late to choose anything else. Like, this is what I've picked. Like, this is what I've got to go with. And yeah, I was there for them, but I also wasn't there. Now I look back in pictures and I find it really interesting looking back at pictures now, and I'm like, I can see how lost I was in those moments. And, you know, kind of even motherhood, as, you know, the journey that unfolded, it was very much all the things that I think I should do. I wasn't listening to myself. Like, I was just following with what I thought was right. And yeah, I just got really lost in that phase of my life. I really did. And like I say, I just caged myself in and just had this sneaky little feeling of like, oh, this can't be it. This can't be it. So that was kind of where I'd got to.
And I think on that note, though, with the motherhood guilt, like I work and I can resonate with that, you know, in terms of I'm working from a financial point of view. I would love to have that opportunity to be at home with my daughter. However, it's hard work, and you doing that full time over those years, I can imagine you having those feelings, you know? So I think it's just such a hard one to kind of grapple with. And I can totally see where you were just like, I should be grateful. I want to do more. Like, I can just, when you were talking, I was like, I could totally appreciate that feeling, because I sometimes feel that, and I work and I'm at home with Phoebes on a Friday and then I see her at the weekend, but that's not enough. But, you know, it's good that she goes to nursery, and it's just a whirlwind, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. And it is one of those, like, whether you're working or not, I think we all navigate, like you say, those feelings, don't we? Because it's such a huge shift in identity, I think, motherhood. And you kind of have your preconceptions of what it's going to be like and how it's all going to work out. But your feelings are so different once you're actually living it. So yeah, it's kind of really exploring that, isn't it?
And Kat, how about you?
Yeah, so it's what I absolutely love about this is that when Charlotte and I met, we were different parts in life, but like what was happening with us both was very similar at the time. We're kind of feeling the same, should I say? And I was absolutely at my "is this it" moment, and I actually remember the moment. I was sat in this office chair, probably just spinning round on it, because that's what I was doing, like looking up at the ceiling, going like, "Shit, like, is this it? Is this it?" But I'd kind of got to that point in a different light, that I'd, you know, hit the successes, and successes, you know, is subjective, isn't it, to what anyone believe, you know, believes is their success. But I'd built businesses over the years. Both of my girls had started school, and me and my husband, we got our business to a point where it was doing everything we wanted it to do, was work for us. We didn't have to work in it. It was working for us. So financially, we were free to just come and go as we please. But that was the point where I was like, with the kids at school, with my restaurant not needing me in it, I'm like, it sounds like beautiful and what everyone's working towards. And absolutely, like Charlotte said, what she thought was her dream was actually my dream. And I got there, arrived there, and I'm like, but that, like, is that just it? And like Charlotte said, the guilt that came with that, because from the outside looking in, you think, well, that's it, isn't it? Like, you've nailed it. You can just do what you want with your days, and that is beautiful. But you just got this feeling inside. There was just more. I'd got more to give, more to serve, more to do, more to have. But I just kept squashing that down for quite some time. Actually, it was quite uncomfortable for a period of time, just trying to suppress it, trying to ignore it because of being riddled with guilt. I should just be happy. I should just be happy with what I'd got, how far I'd got to, and that should be enough. And I shouldn't strive for any more.
I think as well. Sorry.
No, go. Yeah,
I think I just want to highlight, because a lot of people everyone who I speak to at work is counting down to retirement. Like they think that's the end goal, and like you're sitting there, and like again, Simon Squibb, for example, I know he was like in his 30s, he's taking his son to school, like he could retire there, and then again, is this it? Is this all I want out of life? And I think there's so many of us sitting here, including me and Hannah. We say it a lot. We've got another 40, 50 years of ourselves, and you're happy when you achieve something, don't you? When you work hard for something and you get something out of it. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to delving deeper.
Yeah, and I think it's like important to say as well that like your feelings change from one day to the next, 1 year to the next. Your dreams change. How you live your life changes. So it's almost like remembering that just because at that time you feel like you wanted more, you might continue that for the rest of your life, or you might get to a point where you're fully satisfied. And I don't think it matters either or. You've just got to trust like your instinct and your gut and look after that. And it might take 10 different journeys to feel it, or this for you guys might be it for the rest of your life. And I think as well, it's like everyone gets told to live in the present, and then you get so focused on living in the present that you then forget to look at what you want to do for the future. And you just need to find that balance. And that's probably what's quite scary for people, because it's like, well, what am I meant to do? I'm going to live in the present. I should be thinking about the future. I should be thinking about what I want to strive to, because I should be happy in this moment. And it's so much conflicting information, isn't there?
There really is. And I think I remember we saw a piece of research, didn't we, Kat, that was like the 4 universal human desires. And it was aliveness. So those things that literally make us feel alive. It could be anything. It could be going for a walk out in nature. It could be, kind of like for me, it's my morning coffee, just me, myself and I in the morning, and just really absorbing that. Also, we need connection, and that's connection to others, but also more importantly, connection to ourselves. And then there's growth. We need to be growing, and we need to be in a meaningful pursuit of something. And that means actually it's the journey. And I think so often we strive for the result and we miss that actually the aliveness and the thing that we're searching for is in that journey. And that's where then, we'll get to somewhere and we're like, oh, but what's next? And we feel really bad about it. But actually, it's because it's a human desire that we all hold, that actually we need to be in pursuit of something. Like when we're growing, we're thriving and we're learning. So that was a big moment, like on my journey, to actually go, I'm missing all 4 of these at the time. And actually, exploring what that could look like in my life again.
Yeah. And how did that happen then? Because you two met at a networking event. I know, Charlotte, you said to us previously you felt like a little fish in a very big pond. You went to this networking event and you had separate ideas molded into 2? Did you have any clue what you wanted to do and just turned up and thought, I'm going to be inspired? Talk us through that.
So I had a seed of an idea. I was like, I want to do something and I want to. So I'd started an Instagram probably about a year or a couple of years before, kind of built a really nice connected community on there, talking all things motherhood. I'd really started finding myself through posting and actually just sharing a bit more of my reality rather than like my highlight reel. And so I kind of started sharing the girls, and then I got into sharing my outfit. I did it all, sharing outfits. I remember one of them, it was this Zara outfit, and I was balancing on a potty because I really struggled to actually just take a picture of myself, like, and not feel like I'd gone as stiff as a board. So for me, doing something different, like,
was
so
the potty
I
in the
explored it
shop?
all.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the potty was in
Yeah,
shop.
I love that. Yeah.
It was in shop.
It was
in
impressive.
Yeah. So I kind of explored that, and then I was like, right, I want to now like look at turning something into a business. Like, how can I do that? So I came across this challenge, which Kat did as well, that was called Fearless. And I will wholeheartedly admit I did day 1 and then I left and didn't do anything else. But it was amazing. And I kept receiving the emails, and it got to the point where, you know, kind of it was counting down. It was like, you know, you can only get into this. It was a membership, a business kind of networking community for women. So FEA, the Female Entrepreneur Association. And it was counting down and down and down. Now, I really struggled investing anything in myself. I wouldn't buy myself clothes. I would, like, everything was about the girls. So for me at the time, to spend £47 a month on something that I really didn't understand why I was doing it, but I just had this feeling that I needed to be in this space, was really bonkers. But as that time was going down, I was like, I just need to be in this space with these women who are building things to actually just get, like you say, get inspired, like start moving. So I did it. And I literally remember sitting there, I was like, my heart was beating, and I was like, how the hell am I going to explain this to my husband? Like, you know, but anyway, he obviously supports me, but he'd be like, what? Why are you spending that on this? Like, what? So anyway, I spent that, and it was the first networking call that we hopped onto, and I'd not used a laptop in years. I didn't know Zoom, like I didn't know anything. So I felt like an alien, literally, like trying to sign on to this call. And we signed on, and the lady who was hosting it said, like, right, we're going to go into breakout rooms now, and you're going to pitch your business idea to those in this small breakout room, and you're going to receive feedback. And I literally hovered over that end now button, and I was like, get me out of here. Like, what the hell? Like, I did not sign up for this. But something made me stay. And I think it was, I just could not stay where I was. Like, the discomfort in staying where I was stronger than actually doing the scary thing. And I just said to myself, like, what is the worst that can happen if I go into this room and just say, I don't have a clue what I'm doing, but I'm here to learn from you guys and actually understand what I want to do next. And lo and behold, who was in the room feeling very similar feelings? Kat.
Was it me? Yeah.
And then so
absolutely.
you said feeling similar then. So where did that come from for you then, Kat?
Yeah, so similar feelings in terms of I'd got, as I mentioned before, like I'd sat in that space for such a long time of like, I know I want to do something else, but I don't know what it is. And kind of having sort of built businesses previously, I was like, well, I know the one thing I do know is I need to put myself in a space where specifically women are, like Charlotte said, building things. It's for women building wildly successful businesses. I know the power of being in the right environment. I just need to get in a room with women that are not afraid to like think big, and where if I have got these silly little dreams, they're not going to be silly in that space. They're going to be completely normalized, and I'm going to have people cheering me on. So similarly, I jumped into the room. I literally had, like Charlotte had seed. I had nothing, nothing. I just knew I wanted to explore the online world. I wanted to start another business. I'd qualified as a coach 20 years previous, and I wanted to bring back my coaching skills and explore the online world. And that was it. That's all I knew. But I was like, right, I need to be in that environment. And then I just knew I just had to do something. I had to move. And that was the closest move that was within reach to me to just get me off the blocks. And yes, Charlotte was in that room. I was very excited.
And I'm interested because obviously you'd built businesses. So obviously it's interesting that you went to a business building network event when you've obviously got business acumen and you know how to build a successful business. You were, about to have your days as a lady of leisure, which, as you were speaking, I was like, this is my actual dream. But as you pointed out, what you think is your dream in reality doesn't always work out that way. And I think that was really good that we sort of talked about that earlier, because hopefully it'll make people think that just because you think that's what you want, when you're there, when you arrive at it, it might be the complete opposite and, an anticlimax almost. So yeah, it feels so strange that you kind of went to a business networking event. And did you want to offer some advice and help, or were you just sort of there the same as everyone else?
No, completely there to just, as I said, the environment was such a key thing. Although I built businesses over the years in partnerships as well. So with my husband, with other business partners, this was because it was, I suppose, new territory in terms of the online world, and it's very different. So my other businesses are bricks and mortar, they're restaurants, coffee shops. And it's a very different type of business. When you open your doors, you know from day one if it's going to be a success or not, because people either come in and buy your stuff or they don't. And the online world is so different. And I had a lot to learn. So yes, I had a lot to to kind of bring in you could say I was kind of off the blocks already, but in terms of the online world, it was new territory, and I just needed to be in that space, and I needed to be. I've always been, I suppose, the lead in terms of the visionary in the businesses that I've started, and I just wanted to be in spaces with other visionaries. My husband's the doer. I tell him and he does it. He's cool with that. He's cool with that. But I just wanted that. I wanted that more expansive thinking, should we say?
Yeah.
And he's cool with me saying that. And yeah, just to be in that space with what, and kind of soaking up around other women that were building in the online world.
Amazing.
Yeah. And just a little bit more background on you, Kat, because we know this from being at the Authentic Girls Club. We've had a bit of Charlotte's background, but obviously I know, were you studying, you were at university, was it art and something, and then just basically jacked everything in? Like,
pretty
this
much.
is quite young to do this as well and go on that journey, wasn't it?
Yeah, and yeah, I'd love to share that because you're absolutely right. So I suppose in the creative industry, so I studied video production and I did my degree, landed again the dream job, everything I'd worked for those 3 years. I was like so fixated. I want to be a producer in video in the corporate world, put my CVs out there, and a company that wasn't even recruiting brought me in for an interview. Got the job, I couldn't have wanted more. And I worked at that for, I think it was about 18 months or so, loving it, great company to work for, new, thriving, expanding business. And the owners of the business had been on a self-development seminar weekend the year previous, and it was coming round again. So for your listeners, Tony Robbins is the guy we're talking about. So he's Marmite. Some love him, some hate him. I'm a big fan. And the owners of the business at the time, so my bosses, they were like, right, he's coming back to London. We are going to send you and the team to UPW, which is Unleash the Power Within. So it's like this weekend in a power thing. And I was like, it's me, the 3 lads that I work with. We're in our early 20s. It's all expenses paid. I have absolutely no idea what I'm signing up for. Never been in the world of personal development, self-development, personal power. Just completely blind to it all. But it's free and it's a jolly. What's there to not, what's there to not go for? So we went along. And honestly, in that weekend, it's really hard to, it was my wake-up moment. Wake-up moment to realise that I am the creator. It sounds a bit woo, it sounds a bit cheesy, but I'm the creator of my destiny. And I had never been in that space before. It was just very much following the traditional path. And I got this big, 6'6" American guy stood on the stage, telling you to jump, party, dance. I'm like, what? I don't know what's going on, but I'm doing it. And then you're going to walk on fire. I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk on fire. But it came away, I was like, the power of my mind, the way I speak to myself, the conversation, the relationship I have with myself impacts everything. And I was so inspired and I was so just energized by what was possible. From that weekend, I literally came back. We had the debrief meeting with my bosses to kind of see, what did I learn? How was I going to improve in the workplace and personally? And I was just like, that's when I dropped the bomb. I was like, thank you so much for the opportunity, but I'm quitting my job because I want to be Tony, just a little bit shorter and female. I was like, I want to become a coach in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. I want to be an NLP life coach, and I want to help people have this understanding and this ability that I feel like I've already got. Like it's like some sort of secret club. I'm like, how are we not taught this in school, this emotional intelligence? So I was like, I want to go and do that. And they were like, okay, it's not what we were expecting. But being the guys that they were like fully behind me. So anyway, long story short, I literally quit my job after that weekend, after studying 3 years for something I wanted so bad, on a feeling that I just had to get this out there. I had to do it for me. I had to do it for others. And then I had to go and explain that to my parents. And that was interesting because they were like, what? Like my dad's ex-army, ex-fire service. He just couldn't grasp the concept of life coaching at all. It was quite new back then. I was in my early 20s. But that was it. And I just completely submerged myself in that world, trained to become a coach, started my own coaching practice. And then how long have we got? Because then I went off into hospitality. So it all gets a bit funky. But yeah, that's where it all began, should we say.
So would you say then, Kat, you've had kind of a is this it moment, and a sort of your dream turned into kind of a, oh, actually, I don't know if this is what I want twice then. You had it with your dream job, then went off and did your coaching, went into hospitality, and then obviously your businesses came from there. And then you had the successful businesses and you did your twirling in your chair and you had another moment of like, this is now another dream that I've achieved.
It's not every 7 years by any chance, is it?
Yeah, I need to look into that because I have been divorced as well.
But yeah, it's almost like you've experienced it twice. And I suppose there'll be some people listening to this being like, you lucky so-and-so. Like, not only have you achieved your dream once, you did it again. And, you know, there's still more out there. But I think it's actually sort of inspiring in one way to go, just because you think you've got it all, there's still that more you can reach for, you know?
Absolutely, and I wholeheartedly believe, and I know Charlotte's on board. It's like it's just a constant evolution, and isn't that a beautiful way to look at life? It's not like we're done, you know. We get to evolve, we get to grow. Like Charlotte said, one of the human desires is growth, that meaningful pursuit, and I totally that. So the most recent is this at moment, the spinny chair one. I just plateaued.
Yeah.
The drive was gone, the excitement was gone. I was getting up and I should be really, really loving my days because they're all my own. But like, why am I feeling so like just flat?
Yeah.
Because I'm not excited by anything. So it's
that,
almost like,
though, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've got, because I think
but it's bloody hard though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because like you said, it's that feeling of guilt, because no matter what situation you're in, you're, you know, from an outsider in, you're always going to have something that someone is craving or that, you know, they would love to have. They think that, you know, even a hot meal, you know, someone that doesn't have that regularly. So it's trying to...
But even from a selfish point of view, I think it's not even the guilt. Like for me, it'd be like, you don't know. I think that's hard. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
as
the
well? Like when you're so stuck.
Yeah, because obviously there's some things that are completely out of your control that you can't just get up and go, right, actually, I'm going to change my whole path. Because you've also got to think about how it impacts others around you. Because, you know, yes, you've got to listen to your gut and trust yourself and give yourself that self-belief. But when you've got like a support network around you, whether that be your family with kids or friends or parents or whatever, you have got to have some kind of, if I do this, how will this impact them? But then if you're not your happiest version of yourself, you can't give everything that you want to those that are in your life. So it's just, I mean, I say it about everything. I might as well get it tattooed on my forehead. Balance.
Yeah, and everything. I'm a true believer that everything's at a cost as well. Everything's at a cost, and we are making sacrifices whether we might not feel like it at the moment. And I think back and yes, I was absolutely supported, and I'm so grateful of that. But it was equally at a cost. You know, stepping out of the, you know, working the 9 to 5, getting that steady income, that safety net, living in a beautiful city centre apartment in Birmingham city centre, to go, actually, you know, I'm removing myself from all of that back into the spare bedroom where I grew up in as a kid, you know, sort of thing. So it's kind of, it's kind of sacrificing in the moment, isn't it? But obviously not a detriment to yourself or others, and, you know, not to extremities, but it's just kind of to get back in that alignment. It's like, actually, what manoeuvres could I make that are within my control? And it's kind of making that, I suppose, for the longer term gain, if that makes sense.
And then, sorry, is this when you guys met? Was Charlotte's story after with the dogs, or was this before?
After.
Yeah. So before we move into that, sorry, Hannah.
No, I was just going to throw to Charlotte just to see if she had anything to add of the back of kind of that little conversation that we've had about, if you've got any musings or anything just of what we've been speaking about.
Yeah, because interestingly, I think the thing that stopped me moving was guilt of, obviously, you know, kind of moving my time onto something that wasn't my girls. And for me, I look back to when I was all there, but I wasn't all there because I didn't have my passion, my purpose, my own drive. And I think one of the things that really kept me stuck was, again, another should, that should be like, my kids should be the thing that lights me up. And I'm not saying this is the case for everyone, but I do kind of want to normalize it's okay if they don't. Because actually, I think it's really important that we have that passion, that purpose, that drive that is completely our own. and kind of really tap back into that. And I know for me, like the aliveness and the excitement that's come back into my life from that has made me the mum that I always wanted to be. And I always say, like, when I was kind of not living it and, you know, I was all there, I was there for them day in, day out, I was really frustrated because I'd got this inside. So I wasn't as patient as I used to be. And, you know, kind of my husband got the brunt of that, like, mostly. And then it started coming out on the girls. And I was like, why am I so impatient these days? And I was like, then that was my sign that I had to move. And that was the discomfort.
I think
So,
that's important to highlight as well. I mean, this is coming from a person who has no children, but I see a lot of people get into like later life and their children are fleeing the nest and they might have even gone through divorces and things like that. And they feel so alone once they get to that point because they haven't invested this time or realized what's important to them. They've just converted themselves into a mother, and it's like panic stations because like, who am I? Who is my identity? So I think, again, I think for people looking at it, it's not even the guilt. It's like Hannah said, that balance, you know, little bits of you is everything. Do you know what I mean? But make sure you look after yourself because, again, thinking in the future, what would happen if these things, you know, your kids move away or whatever? Who are you?
Exactly. And I think circling back then to kind of that networking space, you were on Zoom, none of you having a clue what you were going to do. Tell us then how it moved from that virtual room to sort of business partners to obviously being best friends.
Yeah, so we didn't actually connect in that first Zoom room, but we both were like, she's my vibe.
So it wasn't love
I've
at
got
first
my eyes
sight.
on you.
It was a slow build up.
It was more of a slow stalk.
Yeah, because you tell us, don't you, Kat? Because then we logged on to the next call, and what happened then?
Well, I was like, so this networking group, it was like probably over 100 women in the main room, and then you get put in the breakouts, didn't we? Which was about, I don't know, eight
I think
ladies.
it was less. It was about 4 or 5. I don't know. It was like 4 or 5.
So we got put in that room the first time, but we didn't, like you say, we didn't connect. Then it happened again, and I spotted you in the big room, and I was like, right, come on, universe, stick Charlotte in a room with me again, and that was it. And it delivered, didn't it? Out of all these hundreds of women, and it's randomly selected, so that was meant to be. And we connected on the second time, I think, didn't we?
We did. And then we just said, like, because we were both at such similar points, I think we said such similar things as well. We were like totally each other's vibe. And then we just decided to be each other's accountability partners. So for me back then, again, navigating Zoom, I was like, oh gosh, I've got a new friend and I get to meet her for an hour a week and talk about big things. Like, what? Like, who am I? So, yeah, we met every week from there on out, didn't we? For an hour a week to just check in with each other. Like, what were we doing? How were we moving forward? And that was the beginning of, what has blossomed obviously into like a business partnership. And we are literally in each other's pockets all day, every day, aren't we, Cass?
We are, yeah. And I think it's worth sharing that, you know, because when we started Accountability Partners, your seed of the idea was the Authentic Girls Club, wasn't it? And Charlotte started. So Charlotte founded it before we became a partnership. So you founded it in the October. That's right, isn't it? I was still spinning in my chair thinking, what is I doing? But at least I can meet Charlotte for an hour a week. And then it was the February, the year after, 2022, that you finally proposed, didn't you, Charlotte? You were like, right, our worlds are aligned, our missions are aligned. Do you want to come in and join me at TAGC and be in partnership? And of course, I said yes. I've been waiting patiently in my spinny chair, and the rest is history, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah.
And obviously, then with the Authentic Girls Club, obviously interesting to know that it was your little seed to start with. And when you mentioned that seed earlier, I was like, oh, I bet that's the Authentic Girls Club. But I was like, but no, that's got cat involvement. So it's nice to know the actual sort of journey with that then. So then talk us through how kind of you got from that seed to the tree that it is now then, in as smaller steps as you can, I suppose, because I bet there's so many intricacies about how it's grown to be the amazing club that it is.
Well, this is where the dogs happened.
Right. Okay.
And my identity took a took a turn. So I was a bit of, and I was really reflecting on this just recently. I was quite a self-development skeptic. Like I wasn't like Kat was, years earlier. I was not in that world. Like I thought I was a positive person. I was grateful. Like I'd had a good life. Like I didn't feel like there was any work to do. And so I wasn't really kind of open to that at all. And then after joining, obviously, the business networking, there was kind of seeds of it within that space. And I kind of naturally started journaling, not realizing I was journaling, but to get my idea out on paper. So I was writing what it is every day and just trying to just make sense of it. And I started to kind of make these moves. And originally, the Authentic Girls Club was going to be because of obviously my story was the Instagram thing. It was finding myself through Instagram and like kind of just exploring that. So I wanted to help people show up authentically online. So I kind of started taking steps. I built this focus group of a couple of friends. I was helping them get online and start finding themselves and speaking out. So really making some big moves. And I was so proud of myself, sort of building myself up, kind of being so lost to then actually doing something. But as I was doing that, I started to notice that there were a lot of limits coming up. There was a lot of doubt. And I was taking a few steps forward and then I was like, hell no, and it was this kind of back and forthness. And I naturally started to actually write that on paper. And I was like, what is it that is actually holding me back here? And I wrote the words that I didn't feel like I'd been through enough to say what I wanted to say and to speak my message. And literally a few days later, my dogs were stolen and I was plonked in the middle of my worst nightmare. And for me, I have been very careful what I write down since.
I bet.
But it just highlighted and was like a huge slap in the face. Like what you say to yourself, what you believe about yourself, what you are, all of this internal stuff matters. And obviously I didn't get to there straight away because then obviously I was thrust into that and that, the days that unfolded of that was horrendous. But that was, for me, the moment where I realized, thanks to that one journal kind of moment, I realized that life was actually happening for me and not to me. And I think without having had that journal prompt, I wouldn't have dealt with it the way that I did. And I didn't deal with it perfectly, but kind of just to share a bit of what that was like I'm a huge animal lover and a very, very big trusting person. I would trust anyone until they gave me a reason not to. And I was a running joke when I was in uni and kind of with boyfriends and stuff that always cheated on me, always forgave them, always took them back. I was the one saying sorry on a message just so that they didn't feel bad. That was me. That was who I was. So for this to happen, I felt like it literally completely dismantled every part of me because I felt so exposed. The trust in nature was completely, thrust into the air. So yeah, basically, long story short, my husband had taken them out on their walk, as he would do. It was kind of, a Saturday. It was, it was early evening. It was bright outside. Our town that we live in, Nantwich, it's a huge dog place. Everyone says hello to each other. He'd been at our friends, the dogs had a play with their dog, gone to M&S just to pick up a couple of bits, literally where M&S is, it's busy, people going in and out. There's literally a police station, there's the library, there's the doctor's surgery. And he tied them up for a couple of minutes. We'd never do a full food shop, but, it was just out of necessity, busy family life. It was something that we did. And within minutes, they were gone. And he walked out and was just they were two labs and, kind of instantly he knew that they'd been stolen because if they were going anywhere and they got loose, they would be coming into the shop and finding him and finding some food.
They'd be finding food.
Yeah. So, and he always says the worst part of it was having to ring me and tell me. And the kind of mad part was I was so proud and excited at that point in time. I was dancing around the kitchen because I'd finally started making moves on this business. And I had a glass of wine in my hand. I was cooking the girls' tea. I was higher than I'd ever been. And I got that call and I just remember literally my legs falling from beneath me. And I was just I couldn't process it at all. But obviously, mum, still being mum, I was delivering the girls' tea. I was like, what? My friends came around. Anyway, thank goodness it literally boosted out there and it went viral. And I do thank kind of my Instagram as a result of that, the community that I built, because
Yeah.
they were heavily on there, because they were such a huge part of that journey. You know, they were always on there. And thanks to also the Nantwich community, like it got on that Facebook group and it just blew up. And it was just horrendous. And, you know, kind of, you know, in those moments we were blackmailed, which I didn't even know was a thing. People prey on people who've got lost pets and try and get money from them.
So
Was that
on-
actually
on
the
that-
people? Sorry.
Yeah, I just-
Like,
Me and
is this
Lucy have the
random
same
people?
brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, like was it them, and was it because of your online presence at that point? Because you had started to build your business. So was it a combination of both? Were you targeted?
No. So
Okay.
it was even the police say, a very poor, like, crime. Like, you know, they were found with their leads and collars on. Like, it was not, I think it was genuinely wrong place, wrong time. I think they've been doing some other things around town, stealing things. I think it was a in the moment bad decision.
Opportunist.
Yeah, and they'd taken them. And my biggest fear was, and I still hate to go there, but that I think kind of knowing a bit of the background, that I think if it had not gone so viral, they could have been used for dog bait.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
And that for me was the real, you know, as a huge dog lover, to think that one action had led them to go into that was really tough. And I know that for my husband was, the guilt, you know, of
Yeah.
that was just unbearable.
And how long were they missing for then?
So 2.5 days, literally. So it was the Saturday evening. We got them back lunchtime on the Tuesday.
And what was the blackmailing in this time then? Like, what was happening? Was it messages? Was it phone calls? Was it wanting money?
It was all of it. So first of all, I remember coming down the stairs, and I was basically, I just stayed at home, because I was like, if anything, like, we always want someone to be at home just in case, like, you know, they, I don't know, magically come home. You just never know, do you? But I felt helpless. Like, Dale was literally, oh God, he did, like, neither of us slept for days, and he was just out wherever he could, following up every lead. Because that was the thing as well. It was so noisy, because everyone, in such an incredible way, everyone was trying to help us, but there was so much going on. It was really hard to keep up with everything. But he was just out there, left, right, and centre. And I just kind of stayed at home and tried to man and find anything that I could online. And I remember coming down the stairs, and I just actually filmed a video, like, because I think I'd shared a few posts on my Instagram, but I just shared a video because I was like, that's the only thing that I feel like I can do to help. Struggled to get through it without being full-blown tears, but I was just like, please help us. And came downstairs, and you know when your phone, like, you were looking at your phone, but you know it's something bad before you even like look at it. You just know, you have that feeling, don't you? And I just opened, and I can see it now, like Amy Dobson, and I was like, a woman, right? And it was, you need to send me £2,000, otherwise your dogs are gone and done for.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, and this is where it felt like a movie, because I'm like, I've seen this happen. Like, you don't get the police involved. Like, you're just then on this, like, and it was, and that was our first thought. It was like, well, we can't, because if they find out, like, then, you know, and it's mad, that to me. But I thankfully rang my dad, and he was like, tell the police, like, you know. And I have to say, like, the police were incredible, and I think it was because we were so honest. Like, I think they could see, you know, just exactly what we were going through in those moments, and they were all huge dog lovers. And I feel like police get quite a bad rap with dog theft. I can only say good things. Like, they went above and beyond to get our boys home, and they got them home.
So I take it Amy Dobson was a fake account.
Yeah.
And how many
that was,
messages were you getting? So you got that one, you ignored it then, of police advice, I take it, and then she sent more?
Yeah, so that was continuous, so back and forth. And it was really like, because so we basically then had, because we kind of got taken off the case of finding the boys, because they were wanting us to help them unearth the people behind these messages. So it was kind of 2 cases, turned out to be 3 cases, because there was another blackmail as well. So we were kind of on that. They were manning all of our social media accounts, and they were like, please just put your full trust in us. Like, we are on this. So we were kind of helping to unearth that, as because it's networks is what, well, you don't realize quite how big of a network it is, but some of them are networks and huge things. So
It's organised crime groups, isn't it? Like,
exactly.
just when you were saying about the dog bait, and it's just unthinkable what humans can do to either other humans or animals, isn't it? And
Yeah.
I can only imagine why you didn't sleep. I can only imagine that you probably
Yeah.
felt like your whole world was collapsing in those 2.5 days.
Yeah.
And your kids and the girls, like, what were they going through? How are you trying to support
Yeah.
them?
So they at the time were 2 and 3, I think. And it was actually April's birthday on the Monday. And I remember like my friend wrapping all of April's presents. Thankfully, I'd actually got ahead of myself and had bought them. So she wrapped them all for me. And I remember us, because we also then got an evening blackmailer who was a phone call one, which was even more horrendous because it was, you know, I don't think either of us will ever forget his voice.
Yeah.
But I just remember blowing up balloons and I was like, how the hell are we going to do this? And, you know, but we did. You do, don't you, as a parent? You just literally, we were like, they were too young. We didn't let them know anything. They didn't know anything. And it was interesting because, like, you know, the years that followed, it's obviously people would then speak about it. And I remember a lady in McDonald's, of all places, literally just let it all out. And I was like, okay, I probably need to explain this to the girls now of actually what happened to the boys, because I just hadn't, because, you know, you just sheltered them from it. But we got through that. And they kind of, on that Monday, went to my mum and dad's for the majority of the day, to be honest, because we were with this phone call of them back and forth quite heavily. But then, a message came through on the Monday evening to Dales, and he'd forwarded it on to the police. And we had a call on the Tuesday morning. We'd actually gone walking out because we also received a lot of judgment, as you can imagine, a lot of negativity online, as much as we received a lot of support. And at those points in time, obviously what I know now is, you know, a negative comment, and this is what I truly believe, can only ever bother you if there's a part of you that believes it's true.
Yeah.
And they were hitting me in the jugular because I was feeling bad enough.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember sat, you know, outside Costa. Dale was like, do you want a drink? I was like, I can't drink anything. We were just knocking from door to door. Has anybody seen anything? And I remember literally reading this comment and just, it broke me, like absolutely broke me. But then we got home and Dale had this other call, and I was like, I've never seen him look white as a ghost, and he looked white as a ghost. And I was like, what is going on? And I was like, it felt different. It didn't feel like another blackmailer. And he then started describing the boys, and I was like, what? Like, and I was like, you know, this can't be real. Like, it can't be. Obviously, you know, your trust is gone at that point. Like, could it be them? And then he got off the phone and said it was the police. Like, they think they've got them. They were like, they can't be, you know, sure, but they think they've got them. And we had a few minutes because they were coming from a little bit further away. We had some time. Literally, my husband went up and brushed his teeth.
Has he not smelled dog breath before?
We were just not processing anything. And I was like, I grabbed the most random things in a bag. I was like, ham, like dog treats, dog bags. I was like, a drink, like, you know, and just all these different things. And then we got to the police yard, and all of the police that were working on it came out into the yard with us. And like, I have never felt so supported. Like, I really haven't. And we had to wait there for a little bit because, like I say, we couldn't wait. We just got in the car and got there, so we were a bit early. But then the gate opened, and they'd got a car each, and being bigger, and it just turned in. I will never forget Welling just looking to the left. I was like, it's him. And then Denzel followed in his like car, and again, fell to the floor, and they just got out of those cars, and it was just unbelievable because you were so lacking trust that it just didn't feel like that we were ever going to get them back. And I think for us, we'd worried that they'd changed, and that was also the big thing. Obviously, labs trust anyone, right? Like, literally, I mean,
so
they
loyal.
had, yeah. And they got out of the police car, bypassed me, went straight to Dale, which they would normally do anyway. And then there's me a mess on the floor. Came and said hello to me. And then they greeted every single person in that yard. And
It's
I
like they
remember,
knew.
They knew they were home. They knew that they were good. And I think that moment for me was like they've been through this, like they can still trust. And later it kind of stayed with me that I'm like, if they've not lost trust in people, like how can I? And that was kind of, kind of in my more healing moments. But unfortunately, Welly, when he did get out of that car, like we thought he'd overeaten because he'd ballooned up his tummy. And thankfully, when we got home, we were like, let's just get them both checked out at the vets. And he was full of fluid. And they said he wouldn't have lasted another 10 minutes in the house where they were.
Wow.
But just because he was refusing to go to the toilet.
So no, it was fluid as in like body, like not, body fluid, and through stress.
Like through stress. Oh my God.
And so he kind of then went, and when you look at like the two of them, like we always knew, I mean, if they'd been split up, I don't think Welly would have survived like at all, because they were so gelled together. And yeah, Welly was the quieter, like he needed Denzel.
Yeah.
Denzel was the boisterous one, like, he was a bold one. So Welly had to go straight to the vets and have an operation straight there and then. And Denzel came home, and I remember saying to the vets, I was like, please, can you just try and get him home tonight? Because I was like, I just wanted them in our home like that night together, which they did, which was amazing. And again, the vets were incredible. So yeah, they got home, and Denzel, obviously, Welly had to go on his own path, but Denzel, I've never seen a dog sleep like it for days. It was like he was just, just letting all of it out, which really just showed me, like, and then we kind of went on to then, I think the exposure of that really helped in terms of getting bigger sentences on dog theft, because it was very much property theft at that time. And they're not property, like they're not like stealing a laptop, like you're dealing with so much emotion, like on their part as well as the humans as well. So
how you explained like how the physiological reaction to him being full of fluid, like I just like, I hadn't gone for a wee, like, and it was when you just said stress, like, sorry, I was like, God, they're just so innocent, aren't they? Like, it's just awful.
And you think that as well, like, with us, stress, it's not good, is it? Like, it's not good. Like, and this is what blew me away. Like, he was 7 and he was so full of health. And I'm like, 2.5 days of, I know it would, like, I knew that neither of them had slept. Like, that would have been 2.5 days of intense stress. And that was how he came home. Like,
and you don't even know like what conditions they were in, that's not even bare.
Were you told anything like? Because obviously you're getting blackmail from here, there, and there, and everywhere. Was it all linked? Was it? Where were they? Who got them? Like,
so it wasn't linked at all. So the blackmail was different. Thankfully, the second blackmail, the caller, we managed to bring, and I thank Dale for this because he kept going when I couldn't anymore. He kept speaking to them, and we managed to bring a network down that they are literally have only just got to the bottom of. There was literally, it was massive. And thanks to that call, like, it's still been going on. I mean, it was 2021, still been going on. So they that happened. So that was great. I can't remember your question actually.
How did they get? Like, did they just find the dogs? Were they handed back in? Were they caught? Like,
so it wasn't linked. That was it. Sorry, so it wasn't linked at all. And the people who had stole them then obviously were arrested there and then. It was in their house, and they managed to get all the way through town and not be spotted at our end because no one thought, like, people saw them, but you just thought there were two people running with two dogs. And they got spotted then going into their house, and it was put 2 and 2 together thanks to social media on the Monday. So I don't think they had left that house. And I think the reaction of, I shut Welly into our living room when he got back from his ox. I didn't want him to get down off the chair, and he panicked. And I was like, they've been shut in. Like, they've just not been given
and
a
also,
light.
They're so clever. Like, I've got a Labrador, and I'm just like, he's so silly but so clever. Like, and they would have known they obviously weren't in their own house. They would have known that they weren't with their family. And God knows if people are horrible enough to steal dogs, God knows what they were hearing, what was going on. And I just thank God you got them back. And
Yeah.
how are they now? Like, how are the doggies?
So unfortunately, we lost Welly just short of a year
Oh.
later. He never recovered, and we did our
Oh.
best. He had some really big ups, but it just got to the point where he let us know he was done,
Oh, God.
and that was really tough. So we lost him at 8, and then Denzel, we lost him a few years later. He was 10, but I'm like, it was a really all of a sudden heart condition just out of the blue, and I'm like,
It's
I don't know.
connected.
Yeah, I'm just like, it just seems strange. And it was crazy because at the time, this is why I just bloody love dogs. Like, I was actually going through a miscarriage, and I feel like he held on until I was good. And then, yeah, it was like he'd almost, because we noticed that he'd not been quite himself in many different ways. And it was like when I'd finally got to a point where I was good, it was like he just went down.
Oh,
Um, and so we lost him. And then, so it's been a journey, but one thing that kind of coming out of that, like, they have been my inspirations, and to kind of loop it back to the Authentic Girls Club, for me, like I say, that all happened. And I look back at who I was before then. I was very naive. Like, I was a big people pleaser. I would put everybody before me. And I kind of came out of that and felt like I was really dealing with some big feelings that I'd never let myself feel before. You know, anger, frustration. I was at the point where I was like, what's the point in being a good person if someone can walk into your life and literally strip it apart, which is what I felt, because they were our life. And, you know, they'd just completely taken that away from us. And I'd got back from a holiday, and we'd managed to take Welly with us. And again, should have been happy. We were the lucky ones. Like, we'd got them. Like, well, we managed to get Welly good enough and well enough to go on that trip. We watched him on the beach, like all of these things. And I was like, I should be happy here. But in reality, like, I was breaking inside. I was so exhausted, like emotionally, physically, mentally, like all of the things. And that was probably my lowest point coming back from that holiday. And I remember going on to Google to search for a life quote to try and help me. And that was like, you know, kind of, I think we've all done that, right? And I was searching and searching. And then I've landed on these words before, but you know, when sometimes they just hit you differently. And I saw the words, be the change you wish to see in the world. And I was like, right now, I am being angry, I am being frustrated, and that is putting me in the exact same bracket as those people.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're happy, you're not going to go and steal dogs. Like, you're just not, are you? And it was, again, just that was my wake-up moment. That was, you know, kind of what, for me, I had to choose. And I was like, I could either stay angry, stay frustrated, and walk away from who I truly am for good, or I can actually decide and be like, what change do I want to make in the world? Like, who am I? And can I choose in this moment to actually start being more of her again? And that was the kind of, beginnings of then really stepping back into the Authentic Girls Club. And that is where Kat was behind the scenes, still waiting for my accountability call.
Still spinning round,
She was spinning. But I remember messaging you and I was like, I'm ready for another call. I'm ready to get this back out there. And, you know, I'd not even got it out there at that point. It was still like I was, you know, working behind the scenes. I had that focus group. I was actually mentoring one lady and getting that out there. But I was like, then I set myself a goal and I was like, this must have been kind of summertime. I was like, I had already had a goal before this had all happened that September I was going to do, it had to happen in September. There's something about September. And I remember I created this free downloadable product that I launched in September, and then I launched the membership on the 1st of October.
Amazing. And obviously, thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, I'm in bits, like literally. And like, obviously, Kat, have you ever had anything that has gone on in your life that has created that feeling that Charlotte's just talked about in terms of trauma, that you feel that you can share?
Oh, we could be here all night, ladies. There's been a lot, should we say? There's been a lot in many different ways. Obviously, I joked earlier about having, you know, going through divorce. I have genuinely been divorced. Lots of other things around, like ill health with family members, losing family members without, you know, in the blink of an eye, without any warning. growing up in like sort of mental health surroundings, should we say, as well. So lots. But what I would say through all of it is, and what I think what Charlotte's really kind of touched on here, is that choice within it, in terms of not allowing our circumstances to define us, but allowing them to be the catalyst behind how we continue to move forward. And that does take a lot, because it can be heavy in whatever way, shape or form trauma shows up for us. But it is that choice within, isn't it? And I suppose the way I've chose to see it is resilience. Blimey, I've built resilience over the years. And it is an active choice every day to wake up and go, right, what is my focus today? Because I could, in the blink of an eye, I could find easily all the things that are wrong, all of the trauma that is still around, you know, all the things that have happened, all the things I've been through, the pain, the hurt. And the way I'd be operating each day would not be a pretty sight. So it is an active choice every day to go, actually, but that doesn't define me, and it hurts. And you know, that we have grieving processes, don't we? And we have to heal and we have to navigate. But I'm going to choose today to look for, actually, there is a lot of joy around me, and there's a lot of good around me. And what that does for us each and every day is it's a huge difference, isn't it? It really is. So I think, just kind of touching on, without going into serious details tonight, but there's been enough. Just I suppose summarise those two, you know, what Charlotte shared is that choice. And I love that when Charlotte, you shared that to me in that moment, was like, choose to put more of me into the world or less of me. Then that's a kind of thing, it's kind of staying true to who you are and not being knocked by other people's actions that are completely out of your control. And just really focusing on what you can control and how you behave and how you show up in the world.
And I think when you were just saying about the choice side of things, like me and Rob often say, like, we look for the little pockets of joy in everyday moments. And it's that choice of choosing happiness, because I think it would be unrealistic to sit and say everything needs to be rosy, because people regularly go through some really traumatic stuff, and it's okay for that to beat you down. It's okay to sit and cry and feel like life is unfair. That is absolutely valid. It's just trying to get yourself out of that kind of hole slowly but surely, and then choosing a little bit of happiness and seeing where that takes you, and building that resilience, like you said. And it's those little bits of joy. It might be that coffee, like you were saying, Charlotte, that kind of aliveness. That could be someone's little pot of joy that day. But trying to choose that over the negativity is really hard. And Luce, you said that earlier as well. Like, it's hard to sometimes just pick yourself up and be like, I'll be okay today. You know, it's all relative, and I've got a better life than some. But I think it is just reminding yourself every day that actually we get to live this life, we get to do this, we get to do that, and it's more of a excited feeling rather than like a chore. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. One thing
And
that
what
I
is
will
it-
say on that
Oh,
is,
go on.
is
No,
for
go.
me, it was allowing myself, before I get to, allowing myself to feel all that I needed to feel in it, and not, you know, I couldn't have moved through that any quicker than I did. And, you know, I'm talking that was weeks, if not months. Oh, it was March. So that would have been a couple of months, to be fair, you know, of being well in the depths of it. And I always anchor back to this, that an emotion takes just 90 seconds for us to actually process. But if we resist processing it, that will stay in our body for years.
Wow.
And that for me has been such a realization, to actually be like, don't try and rush to get to the I get to, or the gratitude or the presence. If there's something tough, like, let yourself be there, let yourself feel it, like, let yourself be annoyed about it, let yourself be everything. Because actually, if you do, and often it's the secondary emotion that we attach to that first emotion that causes us the pain, because we think that we shouldn't feel that first emotion. So actually, the first emotion is
blocking
valid.
it, aren't you?
Yeah.
And then it's a physiological reaction that then ends up being really detrimental to your physical health. And then obviously if your physical health is failing, that's going to mentally, you know, trouble you as well. And it's just all connected. We had Leah, didn't we, on as one of our guests, and she was really tapping into that, like, physiological side
Well,
of
as long as you get like spiritual, it's like
Yeah.
your chakras, like, you know, you're not speaking up, you're going to get something wrong with your throat. And it's a whole, how many times I said, like, your gut feeling, your gut talks before your mind. You know what I mean? You know when something's
Absolutely.
off and your body's just trying to tell you. But I think what I'm intrigued in as well, obviously, we've got the Authentic Girls Club. Me and Hannah have been part of it. What is it you would say what makes you different from anybody else? What is it? Because we've had Amy on as well. Everyone who knows Amy with her story, and she has started her business off the back of you guys.
Yeah.
What, I don't know. I don't even know what to ask. I do know what to ask, but I don't have to get it out. I'm like, what are the things that you really delve deep into that like people don't think about? How do you bring this confidence and belief out of your girls?
For the first step for us is to bring them home to themselves. And I think often we've spent a lifetime running away from who we truly are because we've been taught to be a certain way, do things a certain way. And for us, it's about stripping back those layers and allowing ourselves to really see ourselves. And there was a moment in my journey where I just tapped into a meditation one day, and I was, again, it was one of those moments where I was meant to do it. I used to type in like meditation for, like 5-minute meditation for calmness, or however it was that I wanted to feel. And whoever it was on the other side of that, I don't even know what the meditation was, but they just asked me to put my hand on my heart and feel its beat. And I was like, whoa, I have a heart. Like, that is waking up with me every day. Like, I've not appreciated that. I've not noticed that for years. I don't think I've ever like had a visual of I have a heart that has needs, that has wants, that has dreams. Like, I got so lost in pleasing everybody else that I completely lost like myself. And so for us, as you guys know, we always build from evidence. And obviously we do it in a few drastic ways, like breaking an arrow with your neck and doing something that you think you can't
Walking
do.
on glass, falling off scaffolding, tick, tick, tick.
The bar still got me. I was so scared for both of you at that moment.
Oh
Yes,
gosh, that was
I know.
something. Yeah. But it's really that, like, one of the kind of affirmations that I created way in the beginning, because I was dealing with so many doubts, so many fears, like all the things were cropping up, right? And I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to get excited about what I'm capable of, because I learned that there's the difference. So anxiety and excitement are the same feeling, right, in our body. And actually you can trick your mind which way you want to go. So I was like, rather than be, because I was a really anxious person, I held everything in. And I was like, I'm just going to get excited about what I'm capable of. I literally wrote it on a piece of paper, stuck it on my mirror. So I read it morning and night, whenever I brushed my teeth. I had it everywhere. And that just cemented in me. And I was like, that kind of literally let all those fears and doubts go, because I'm like, actually, I don't have to do anything. I just get to be excited about what I'm capable of. There's no kind of end goal here, but actually, like, I get to just discover what I can do. And that really opened kind of a can of worms. And I always say my first step in business was actually learning to do a French plait in my daughter's hair, because I didn't think I could do that. I spent years in a box of being the person that couldn't do French plaits.
My mother still believes she can't. Go on.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just putting that out because she'll listen.
But honestly, like, literally, it was my sister-in-law. She described it differently to me. And I was like, you've made that sound really easy. And I was like, I'm going to just give it a go. What did I see in my daughter's hair? Literally French plait. I'm like, if I can do that, what is next?
And that's what you
I
pass
love that.
down as well, isn't it, to your kids? Because just go back on that stupidly, I was a hairdresser, and I still believed as a hairdresser I couldn't do French plaits because my mum couldn't. Do you know what I mean? It's weird.
Yeah.
Well, if I just hadn't have that belief from her, and it's like, I can't drive on the motorway. Well, I can't drive on the motorway if mum can't drive on the motorway.
Yeah.
We've spoken about that before. It's that like effect, that filter effect that you try so desperately not to pass on your fears to your kids. And, you know, and I think, again, that's probably, you got to have a good understanding of yourself for that, because you don't want to try so hard that you're passing on an anxiety for trying not hard to pass on a fear to your kids. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, again, trying to work out what's best to do with that. And I just love that switch that you've just said, turning anxiety into excitement. I've kind of not ever looked at it that way before, because I just think the anxiety is because you're worried, you're nervous about something. And I'm a worrier about things that I don't even know if they're going to happen or not. You know, I'm one of those worriers. But turning that feeling into excitement, I've never thought to try and
It kind of
mentally
works
switch that.
scientifically though, because even on our dating episode, we spoke about, like, I've gone off on a tangent now, but like, when you get original like butterflies
yeah.
and all that kind of
Anxiety.
stuff, that's anxiety.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't really be feeling that. That's you going to fight and flight and your nervous system going, this is like really familiar, I like it, or this is what you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're learning so much.
Yeah.
This is the power in that choice again, right? Because there is that choice. It's not easy, but I had to practice it. And I think this is what we are big on, is consistency. Like, this isn't something that you just do once and you're done. You've spent a lifetime not being with yourself. You've spent a lifetime, like, we're wired, like we have a negativity bias. We're wired to be negative. So actually, like, to expect ourselves to in an instant change that, like, it does take, you can definitely, like, we can get breakthroughs like that. But to then withstand that and keep that going, like, it requires that. And I had to say that to myself, like, literally morning and night, like, until it's now the way that I live. And it is, and that's the power of our mind.
Could you imagine the world if we had positivity bias? Why didn't whoever made humans, why didn't they do that? Why have they made everyone just in this world? Like, there's so much that could have been done if it was positivity bias. And we've got to like work against the fact that things are just negative. And like you said, we've got to make that switch, and that's draining, and there's effort that goes into that. And it's important effort that needs to go into it. But when you have got so many different things going on in your life, it's going back to that, making sure that you look after yourself, because when you have got a million plates spinning, to then remember, okay, this anxiety, let's turn that into excitement. Like, you just put it down to the bottom of the pile again. And I think, is that something that you really, really do encourage your women to do, to put themselves first? And if that is one of your main mantras, how do you do that? And what does that look like in kind of from a success story point of view?
Literally read my mind.
That's a great question. Do you want to jump in on that, Charlotte? Have you got anything?
Yeah. Oh, well, I was going to say,
go.
single Monday morning, 6 a.m, we start with ourselves.
I knew how these early morning calls. I was going to bring them up.
And, and every woman who has attended that is a self-confessed not morning person. But it's that choice that before the kids wait, and it's not perfect. I have Evan on there, I've been up in the night and I'm like, I cannot. And we say this, like, me and Kat cannot be without that call. And it's not something to do. It's that moment with yourself before the world can get anything from you. And I think it just works so well that it's 6 a.m. and it's, kind of a Monday. But it's taken our ladies through a very simple but powerful process in terms of them becoming their own coach through their life. So we would never wear rose-tinted glasses and say life is all hunky-dory, because we have, we've lived life and we know it is not. We know it is not. We're not, into toxic positivity at all. But we get to use life. And what I've noticed is every kind of thing, and I know you'll agree with this, Kat, everything that we've been through has kind of, it's been there to strengthen us in a way that we might not get at the time, but it kind of gets you onto the path that you are meant to be on. And you don't know what that is in the moments, and you can't understand it. And it's, kind of like, in the midst of the dogs going, like, that was just something terrible that had happened. But now I look back and I'm like, what that built me into was like who I'm meant to be and how I'm meant to kind of make my impact on the world. So yeah, kind of those Mondays and those anchors, are just something that we will never lose. And we said that, we were like, that is just something that is a thing forever.
No, it's that community, isn't it? Everyone's accountable, because if I don't turn up, Sandra's going to wonder where I am. You start on a Monday, someone might be having a bad day, but time you spoke it out and had that call, great positivity, we're ready to rock and roll.
Absolutely.
Like you say, it's different than just reading a PDF or an email that's been sent to you, or even a video, because you think you're flexible, get round to it, but they're not listening to it at the right time when it's needed, and getting those questions out there.
That live element of it. And Lucy talks about this a lot in terms of like wanting to be out there, like from a face-to-face point of view, that connection with people. And that is just a really easy way to do it from like a virtual point of view, and bringing everyone into that space. And obviously from like a success point of view, then the Authentic Girls Club is going fantastically. It's growing. What does success look like to you two from a business point of view? Because, you know, it is a business, but also from like a personal point of view, like, does that vary? Does it differ? Is it different for you both?
Oh, another great question. I'll lead on this one. So personally, I don't know, Charlotte, if you're aligned with this, and then yeah, jump in. But for me, success, it's never about the things. It's all about time and the feeling. So I'll explain what that means. Like getting up every day and with genuinely, not, you know, again, no rose tinted glasses. If stuff's going on in your life, there's stuff's going on in your life. But overall, a feeling of like getting up and wanting to do your work and not feeling never like it's a day's work, like absolutely loving what you do and getting to do the work that we do to get the transformations with our women so they journey back to themselves, so they are then living their passions, whatever that may be. For me, that's my kind of version of success, to then have the time as well, what the financial, you know, the financials bring into that, and actually have the time doing the things that you love, but actually getting to do what you love to make that income, if that makes sense. Waking up excited. I don't know, what do you think on that, Charlotte? Are you similar or?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think for me, it's been the identity. It's been coming back to who I always was and actually taking myself seriously and getting my, you know, silly little dream that it absolutely was back then. I was like, this is silly. This is too small. This is a seed. This is not even a business. Like, what on earth is it? And for me, in terms of my own personal transformation, has definitely been that shift in how I see myself. And I always say this, like the beginnings of obviously building the Authentic Girls Club, it was steady and slow in the beginning, and I was getting out there. I look back at the videos, I was very much whispering. I was like, oh, if you'd like to come and join me on this call, would you like to come? You know, I was making a joke out of myself, all these different things. But for me, identity, I was still showing up as the stay-at-home mum who was messing around with her silly little idea. And kind of for me, the success is being like really seeing myself for who I am. And I've built with Kat a global movement of women, like, you know, and turned that silly little dream into something really big. Like, we've helped over 750 women to come back to themselves and to start living their silly little dreams. And now kind of the natural kind of evolution for us is, after scaling ourselves, is now helping them scale those dreams and really take them to the next level. But the beautiful thing is, I think along the way, like, we've lost imposter syndrome. Like, we know exactly what to do with doubt. Like, you know, the enoughness, which we all, you know, kind of have been on that journey to not feeling enough. Like, we had a lady, like, she'd done 5 of those morning calls and she was like, I feel enough. Like, she declared it. And I was like, boom, like, you've just got to start seeing yourself and these things start to slot more in place.
And I think that, like, you can tell your passion from that as well. And that's all, again, when in the world we live in now, where there are so many Instagram accounts, coaching, qualifications, and everyone is genuinely trying to help people. But it's the difference is that passion in you both to want these people to succeed. And that's why I was like, does the business and personal differ? And I don't think it does. I think actually it's a combination, because the personal success of seeing someone develop and grow and feel enough and live their silly little dreams just completely links into the business side of it. And I think that's a perfect way, because you're not then fighting financially, we need that, we need more women. It's just organically growing, which then keeps it authentic, which is not, I'm not trying to say that as like a pun or anything. It's genuinely authentic, isn't it? And I think that's what's so beautiful. And I think that's what's going to keep it growing. And 750 women already. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And it's just so exciting to believe in our women before they're ready to believe in themselves. And we find that they'll land in our world and we can just see them. We can see them. We can see what they're about. We can see what their magic, their uniqueness, their gifts to the world. And we know they know that as well, but they're just gone this journey to really wholeheartedly believe that. And we just get to be their believers right at the start as well, which is super exciting. And yeah, seeing them turn their silly little dreams into reality is like the best kick. It really is.
You were that for me. You were
Oh.
I
you
was
were
your
that
whisper.
for me.
I was your whisper.
The whisper.
bless
Yeah.
her.
She was, you know,
Your
she wasn't
whisper.
even involved, but she was going, keep going. You sat with me
She's like
whilst
a
I was building my
Cricket out of
website.
Pinocchio.
Literally.
I feel like, and I feel like
the
the music on this episode needs to be Beyonce, Who Run the World, Girls, Girls. I feel like that's like
Be
my
careful,
gut
we
is
might get
telling-
copyright. I have to test these things
Yeah,
first.
that's right. Well, I could just
Don't get
sing it.
taken now.
We could just sing it and do a
You sing
rendition
it.
of it. Be authentic, you know?
Yes.
But yeah, for obviously our listeners who are listening or watching and they've got a silly little dream and they keep talking themselves out of it and saying, oh, I can't do this, I haven't got the money, or I'm guilty and I want to spend time with my kids. What would you want them to understand right now? They're listening. Tell them.
If it's not going away, it's meant for you. And I think you know when it's not going away and it just keeps knocking, like, you know, and it might not even be clear. It won't make sense to anybody else. You probably won't even be able to voice it to anybody else like I didn't. My seed, like even now I look back, I'm like, I just wanted to bring people together. Like what? What is that? Like, what is that? But I knew that there was something in me. And I think what's been key is the spaces that you then put yourself in. And I think that's where obviously it's so nice like that we now get to be that for other people, because I needed that with Kat. I don't think I would have got this far without Kat. Well, I would have launched it. I think I would have got there in the end, but I would not be on this journey that I'm on today because Kat literally was that behind the scenes person, and it still is today. And I think we bounce off each other, and we often think like if we didn't have each other, blimey, this would be tough, like you know.
I totally
because
get that. I can relate even with the podcast.
Yeah.
It's not even a business.
yeah
But would I still be here if I started it on my own? Probably not. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah. We do say that. We feel like with this, it's like it was meant to be that I saw that social media post on that day, and it was meant to be that I was like, fancy a co-host. It was, and like we're like actually we've got our 6-month birthday actually, haven't we? This week.
birthday.
amazing.
And we
It's
like,
2 days after my original birthday. By the way. I should have remembered that.
we often think that, don't we? We have conversations and we have those like doubts and we have those fears and we have those moments of like pure like excitedness, and we're like, no, we are on this, we are going to make this
And
work, we're going to
learning,
continue
like,
learning,
just
literally
all the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll learn from that mistake.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Okay, don't get upset about it. Just move on, carry
Yeah.
on.
And like similar to what you were saying, like constantly in each other's pockets and stuff. Like we always joke that I speak to Lucy more than my own husband. Like literally, it's Phoebe then Lucy in terms of who I speak to most. And
Phoebe gets involved now.
but yeah, we often say that we couldn't imagine this without each other. So we totally resonate with you saying that about Kat, and I'm sure Kat feels the same about Charlotte as well.
Absolutely. And one
No.
thing I just love to... No, not at all. Not at all. I've been good, Charlotte, but I'm done. And one thing I'd love to just really quickly add on that question that you said, you know, the listeners that are sat there with us, the little dreams, 100% what Charlotte said, and try to forget about the how, because Charlotte will vouch, I can sometimes be very much a how person, but how? And when you're sat there with a silly little dream and it kind of feels silly possibly because it's so big and so different, try and release the how, stick with the vision, stick with the belief, stick with the feeling, and just start, and do not wait until you feel ready, because that will never happen. Because I fell into that trap as well. Well, I'll wait until this, I'll wait until then, I'll wait until I'm ready.
See, I think
but
my
just
problem
start.
sometimes is I don't know what my dream is. So I'm quite happy to rush into things. Like Hannah will go, slow down here, and like, I must do this, but I don't know what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? So what would your advice be for anyone who's probably sat there thinking, again, like yourself, Charlotte, and Mum, now I've got more to life. A lot of people who listen to these episodes are women very much in their 30s and 40s. And we've said it a lot. You've still got another 40, 50 years of your life. What do we need to really do to tap in to find out what it is? Is there anything you can give us on that?
There was actually one thing that I did right at the beginning of my journey, because I was like, I didn't know what to do. And I actually wrote out my timeline, which sounds bonkers, but I wrote out where I'd been in life, what I'd learned, like what had
From the
made
past,
me
then?
from the past,
Right,
literally
okay.
from my childhood. And very messily, this was when I'd not used a laptop, and I was like, oh, an Excel document. What is this? Faffing about with this, but I literally, it was very messy. Yeah. But just start piecing together like what you've actually been through, what you've navigated, how you've grown, how you've built strength. Like, I think it's so easy to look back on our life and say, like, you know, look at the times that we fell and the times that maybe we didn't do so well. We miss all those times that we got back up again. Those times that we built that resilience, those times that we chose something different. Like, every decision that we've made has got us to this very point. So I think sometimes it's actually in looking back to go forward as well, and actually really seeing yourself in that light.
Would you say as well that like that is part of the journey? You might not know what that dream is, but we've spoken a lot about that dream lands in your lap, like Charlotte and Kat have both said, and actually it's not even what they wanted. So maybe it's not so much about knowing the exact dream, it's just kind of like navigating yourself, but choosing the happiness, making the choices to have that joy, picking yourself back up, tapping into that resilience, and then maybe that kind of dream will evolve. You know, like maybe it's not actually
so many
saying
Disney
I want
songs
this.
in my head now. I was like, and your dream.
And I think of vision boards
Wish
are like,
upon a star.
but like vision boards are a collective of dreams, right? It's not just one. It's like
Exactly.
I've got 10 dreams. So I think maybe, Luce, like don't focus on just one dream. Like just you love a vision board. You've got lots of things that you want to achieve. And I don't think there is one dream. I believe that like there's lots of dreams that combine into just making sure that you are achieving everything that you want to. And when you get to those moments, like we've spoken about, you might get there and go, oh, this isn't actually what I thought it was going to be. What's next on my little dream?
Yeah.
But also, we also say about not chasing constantly for like the what's next, but believing
Hannah's
in that
very
growth
good
aspect.
at this. She's like, stop, let's embrace this moment right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like the next
'Cause the
achievement
journey is
gonna
the
be
life,
better,
isn't
we're gonna
it?
appreciate this one. Like,
Yeah. But it's that pursuit
Yeah.
that you were talking about. So again, it's the balance of living in
Balance.
the yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Before we do wrap up, because we are moving on to our signature question. I bet you can guess what it is. I just wanted to say, I just observed, Kat, when you were saying about you're normally the how person. At the Wake Up Live event, it was the other way around. Charlotte was the one that was like, how I don't know how I'm going to do this. And obviously it was a moment that we were watching where it was obviously Kat, you were like, the feeling, you were like, doesn't matter, just do it, just keep walking, just keep walking. So when you were saying that, just do
They're all
it.
looking, do
Literally,
it.
but that's when you were saying that you're the how person, I was like, well, you weren't that in that moment.
No.
You was the
No.
opposite.
Yeah, and just
That's
to explain
great.
to anyone who's listening or watching, because you can't see, we've talked about it on our episodes, but it's a big steel, what you put in concrete to do. I'm really not good at
It's
explaining.
like
You
that
see them
milk
in
good
Greece all the time,
foundation.
don't you? On top of the roof, so you don't have to pay tax.
Yeah.
So basically, we'll share the video on our socials again, and we'll try and add it. But yeah, you'll see why we were all a bit like, how?
Yeah.
That's all I
Well,
can
yeah. But it's
Yeah.
really good to pick up on that, Hannah, because you're absolutely right. In that moment, I hadn't got a clue how, and I thought if I lean into the how, I'm gonna be more pushed back and I've just got to trust. And it was a real moment, Charlotte. I was like, you just got to trust. We just got to go.
Yeah.
Like we've got to trust it's going to happen. You know, it gets to a certain point, it's going to collapse anyway because of the, you know, physics and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But it was a real representation of when you want something, and that, you know, the amount of effort you've got to put in the first instance, and then you pop back, and then you got to go again, pop back until you get out, and then it's that tipping point where it just it just goes. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I am the how, but in that moment I was like, I don't know how, but just go. Just go.
Charlotte was the, but like how? I just can't see this happening.
I couldn't, and I think I was trying to imagine what it would look like. And again, this is great
'cause you've not
representation of
seen
this. I wanted to see what it looked like so that you understood how it was going to do it, so that then I could actually make that happen.
Yeah.
But reverse engineer that. Like that is not how it happened. I had to let go of that.
Yeah.
And
I think
just
that's
start
what got
walking.
me so much. 'Cause obviously, I've seen the arrow from your last event, so I've seen that it's possible. But a big metal, steel, whatever it's made of, before some man starts saying I've got it wrong. So it's a big bar, and it bends. I was like, again, we were all watching, like, how?
Yeah.
Like, again, it's like, how does this work? And then all I'm thinking of, well, they've got to have the insurance, so it's got to do something.
I've got the insurance.
If it's back in 1996, I would have been really shitting myself.
But I think that's like, to finish off this conversation, really, that's a huge metaphor to everything that we've just been speaking about. It's that kind of letting go of that fear. It's that you don't need to know the exact route. You just need to go on the journey and see kind of where it takes you. And it's that kind of that belief in yourself again. It's that confidence. It's that partnership, element that you've got. And it just feels like that was just a great metaphor to end on. But ladies, what we really need to just finalize our chat with is something that we always ask everyone. And we want to know individually. So who is Charlotte becoming now and who is Kat becoming now?
You go first.
It's like who goes first, because then the other one might feel like copying.
Say it at the same time and see if you say the same thing.
No, because it's going to be a sentence.
Do you want to?
I don't even know what's going to come out of my mouth. Who am I becoming next? I just want to become even more of who I am. And I know there's more in there. I know there's more. And I think I've been on a journey just recently in terms of there's a few people-pleasing traits that were still apparent on my Instagram, and I've let go of those so much. And I'm like, I just want to be fully out there as my whole self, and just get excited about where that's going to take me.
Yeah, amazing. So mine is slightly different. Becoming the woman that does it all and holds it all, and not in a pushy kind of doing it all way, but just becoming the woman that gets to the end of the life and is like, no regrets. Like I've all the visions, all the dreams, I've done it all, but can hold it as well is really important. So that's who I'm becoming. But there's probably overlap there in terms of getting out there and going all in. I think is our
we always say
2026 feeling.
The research by Bronnie Ware and the biggest regret of the dying, that she was a palliative care nurse, and it was that they wish they'd had the courage to live a life true to themselves rather than the life that they thought others expected of them.
Yeah.
And like that, just
you really
it hits,
one
doesn't
shot,
it?
don't you?
Yeah.
No matter what you believe in, just like
Just do
religion,
it.
spirituality, you're only remembering the life that you're living right now. So
And no one cares about your life. Like, do you know what I mean? However that sounds, no one really cares about your life apart from you and probably 2 or 3 people that are in your immediate family. And of course you can widen out to best friends, of course, but that's why it's just so important to do you. Like, it really is, isn't it?
I just feel like just dressing as a Disney princess tomorrow and just singing and going
Go
around
for
the
it.
audience.
Love it.
That's what you're
I'm with you. I'm with you.
On that Disney note, princess, I think it's all time for us to retire to bed, so we're all fresh in the morning. But no, thank you so much, ladies. This has been such an inspiring conversation. It's been an emotional roller coaster. I'm knackered from all the crying. But no, we're really grateful that you've come on and you've shared and you've been open and honest. And just thank you so much for coming on our podcast and chatting to us.
Thank you so much. We've
Thanks
loved
for having us. It's been an honour. Thank you, ladies.
Oh,
Thank
pleasure.
you so much.
We'll see you Monday at 6:00.
See you Monday.
See you all there.
But on that note, obviously that's a goodbye from myself.
It's a bye from me.
And bye from me.
It's a bye from us.
Just stay on.